Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse is here, and it's got me asking one question. If all these spider people actually had to fight to the death, who would come out on top? Since it's school holidays and I have nothing better to do, I actually do, I'm just procrastinating, it's time to find out. I'll be using an AI storyteller to pit Spider-Person versus Spider-Person in a death battle, with randomly selected locations and randomly selected fighters. Beginning this tournament is Spider-Man 2099 versus Tobey Maguire. Miguel O'Hara is looking through some files on his home turf, the Spider Society headquarters, where spider people from all around the multiverse meet. In through the doors of his office walks Tobey Maguire. "Hey, you're not supposed to be in here," Miguel calls out, barely looking away from his work. "I missed the part where that's my problem," replies Tobey. Miguel is enraged by this sass. In a flash, he draws the talons on his fingers out and lunges at Tobey. The battle to the death has begun. They both land some solid blows on each other. Tobey punches Miguel across the jaw. Miguel replies with an uppercut to Tobey's stomach. Tobey steps back and sweeps Miguel's legs out from under him. Miguel grabs Tobey's arm and shoves his claws into Tobey's elbow joint. The two get to their feet. "Come at me, bitch," Tobey yells and lands a right hook to Miguel's face. He's bringing out the cuss words. Man, that's not very Christian of him. The two of them continue to fight for another few minutes. It comes to an end when Tobey gets a lucky punch through Miguel's ribs, knocking him off balance. Tobey capitalizes on this and lands a final kick to Miguel's temple. Is he dead yet though? Miguel slumps over. Tobey realigns his arm and turns to Miguel. "Sorry dude, you wouldn't have been a great Spider-Man." He turns back to his door and heads back out. Back to Miguel in the Spider Society office, who is now getting up off the floor. "The fuck just happened?" he asks himself as he rubs the inside of his head. "Tobey fucking Maguire," he rumbles. Then in an explosion, black smoke consumes Miguel's office. As it clears, Miguel is standing next to a very tall, muscular man. "It's all you now, O'Hara." "Fuck my life," Miguel replies as he removes his glasses to clean them. He looks up at his new companion and asks, "Who are you?" "My name is Morlan, and I've come for your life." Why is Morlan here? Okay, we need to get this battle back on track. I need to fix this up just real quick. But Morlan reveals himself to be Tobey Maguire in disguise. "Thought we were done," he says. Suddenly, the black suit takes over Tobey's body. Aware of the power of the symbiote, Miguel is on guard. As Tobey jumps at Miguel, the battle resumes. Tobey jumps in the air, but Miguel dodges him. He lands and turns to Miguel, only to be punched across the face. "This is what happens when I bring people to my office," says Miguel, as he lands a final blow to Tobey's face. Is he dead yet though? We need a confirmed death to name a winner here. He grabs Tobey's face with his claws and slams it into the wall behind him. He repeats this, punching Tobey into the wall until the back of his head smashes against the glass of the window. Tobey falls to the ground. "No, Spider-Man, you can't die here. You have to kill me. It's the only way you can save your universe." But it's no use. Miguel walks towards him and draws his talons from his fingertips. Tobey attempts to crawl away. Miguel kneels down and begins to scratch Tobey's face off. Oh my god. Peter is in the middle of a science presentation giving an overview on the differences between different dimensions of the multiverse. In conclusion, the only universal constant is that every Spider-Man is a badass motherfucker. Well, seems like being a menace isn't quite enough to save face in this competition, and so Spider-Man 2099 moves on to the next round. Next up is Andrew Garfield versus Spider-Ham. Andrew is attending the Oscorp staff Christmas party, and he's a little bit drunk. The building is packed, with scientists from all departments coming together to celebrate the holiday season and all the hard work they did over the year. A ding rings out from the elevator, and the doors open, revealing Spider-Ham standing inside. Everybody is shocked. Spider-Man as a pig? It couldn't be possible. Andrew's spider senses begin tingling like crazy, so he manages to get out of sight and suit up. When Spider-Ham sees this, he is filled with anger. Only he can be the best Spider-Man. With this, he lunges at Andrew, and the battle to the death begins. Spider-Ham pulls out all the stops. He tries to do his trademark finger webbing, but they do not stick, due to them being made of meat. He attempts to spin a web, but he accidentally smears Andrew with chocolate, covering him in a sticky mess. It does, however, slow down Spider-Ham, allowing Andrew to strike and send the hero back. He tries to shoot webbing, but it ends up going all over the place, and even sticks to the ceiling. When he fires a web at Andrew, it smacks him in the face, but then it makes his mask fall off. To everyone's shock, Andrew Garfield's face is revealed, and everyone cheers. I mean, I'd cheer if I saw Andrew Garfield, I'm just being honest here. Spider-Ham is of course disappointed, but is quickly cheered up when he realizes he is still Spider-Man. With this newfound motivation, Spider-Ham ruthlessly fights his way towards Andrew, ready to kill. The battle ends up taking place on the ceiling of the building, where Spider-Ham finally gets the upper hand, landing on Andrew's head and slamming him against the ground. Andrew tries to fight back, but Spider-Ham is too strong. However, he manages to stick to the wall and fires a web at his opponent's neck, constricting it. Andrew's vision goes dark and he passes out. Spider-Ham takes off his mask to glow, but a voice in the back of his head says that he has to keep his mask on. This means that he must not take it off, ever. As such, Spider-Ham cuts off his own leg and his own arm in order to keep the mask on. That's a bit extreme. He leaves Andrew there to bleed to death as he hops on his stump and leaves, proclaiming himself to be the one true Spider-Man. After this, Andrew goes into hiding for a few days, taking a vacation in Hawaii. But Spider-Ham is there, and this time, only one will come out alive. The fight begins. The second battle begins. After being in Hawaii, Andrew's spider sense tingled like crazy, meaning that Spider-Ham was nearby. When he entered Andrew's house, he was attacked by a massive Spider-Ham. So he's just like massive. What? He's just big now? They both punched and kicked each other, sending both of them flying around the room. Spider-Ham then attacked Andrew once more, knocking him through a wall. The battle continued on until the ceiling collapsed, burying Spider-Ham. After that, Andrew walked out of the house, leaving the pig there to rot. Okay, well, we have a situation where Andrew could come out on top here. Let's make Andrew go back and check the body just to see if Spider-Ham's actually fully dead. Okay, so Andrew goes back to check on the body to find that it is gone. The two of them proceed to battle once more, fighting throughout the entire city. Spider-Ham uses all of his gadgets and manages to create a sonic blast that sends Andrew flying into the sky. He is ready to end this, but suddenly, his webbing begins to melt. Spider-Ham had sprayed himself with water to weaken the webbing and it all melted off. He was able to send a web through the ground and stick to the ceiling. He then sends a web to Andrew and it lands on the hero's face. Spider-Ham lands on Andrew's head and starts to punch him. After that, he lands on Andrew's chest and punches him even more. When is this going to end? Andrew falls back, then Spider-Ham ends the fight by landing on Andrew's face and crushing it. Andrew is killed, and the entire world sees this. The winner of this fight is Spider-Ham. Looks like the strangely violent Spider-Ham will advance to the semifinals. For our next fight, a battle of youths. Spider-Gwen versus Tom Holland. Gwen is enjoying a zinger box in the car park behind her local KFC. Suddenly, Tom Holland lands on the roof of her car and asks, "Hey, can I have some?" Gwen angrily steps out of the car. "No, man, you can't have any. Go get your own." At this, Tom is fucking pissed. He needs some of that chicken. In one of his rageful episodes, he lashes out at Gwen. "Fine then, have it your own way." He backflips off the roof of the car, kicking Gwen in the face in the process. Gwen will not have this. The two begins a fight, and the death battle begins. Tom Holland, however, has the advantage of a plethora of nifty little gadgets, including an exploding spider suit and a mechanized spider web shooter, a retractable spider web-filled tentacle, a poison-coated fist, a poisonous spider web-filled net, a spider web-filled bubble helmet, and an electrified spider web-filled rope. Gwen has the advantage of, well, everything. Spider powers, her years as a gymnast and ballerina, and being able to see through the bullshit Tom is selling. That's fucking right, Gwen. The fight ends with Gwen smashing the windows of the car to try and break open the zinger box. Tom counters with the spider web shooter, shooting it at Gwen. This launches the box off the car, causing it to fall onto the pavement. The box is broken and the chicken is gone. "Oh no," Tom says, looking down. Gwen gives him a sharp kick to the shin and tells him to piss off, dickhead. As a final insult, she tears off his mask and rips out his Spidey Sense earpiece. Spider-Gwen then throws the earpiece onto the pavement, stomps it, and mocks the distressed young man. How's it feel to be fucked over by a girl? She walks away laughing. Tom Holland runs off, enraged. Spider-Gwen gets into her car, drives away, and turns on the radio to a classic rock station. Tom Holland gets into his own car, drives away, and turns on the radio to an adult contemporary station. Then the two cars fucking crash into each other and the death battle resumes. Tom Holland now has a pair of spinning blades on his wrist that he uses to slash at Spider-Gwen, but Gwen has no problem blocking these with her forearms. Spider-Gwen then lunges forward with a high kick, but Tom counters with a roundhouse kick to the face. There she beats the living shit out of him. "You're fucking dead, penis!" The fight continues with Gwen blocking every move Tom throws at her until she takes advantage of his cockiness by dropping him on his back. She then jumps onto his chest, pinning him to the ground and punching his face over and over. Tom retaliates by ripping a car door off and bashing it into Gwen's face repeatedly. Fucking hell. This buys him enough time to crawl away. As he gets up to run away, Spider-Gwen web lines after him, jumping onto him and landing on his back. She punches him in the side of the face repeatedly, which causes him to stumble and fall over. Tom rolls over to Gwen, who is standing above him. She kicks him in the face and then kicks him again and again. As he gets up, she punches him in the stomach. causing him to double over in pain. It's not looking good for Tom. It's looking like Gwen will be the winner of this battle, as she spots an opportunity to beat up Tom one more time and nails him in the face with her foot. She then follows this up with a vicious series of punches that cause blood to trickle out of Tom's mouth. As Spider-Gwen prepares to deliver the finishing blow, Tom knocks her back, throws a punch at her face, and launches her into the air. She manages to grab a nearby car and uses it as leverage to get back onto her feet. Tom attacks Spider-Gwen again, but she blocks his punches. He takes another hit to the face. She grabs him by the hair and bashes his head against a nearby car, breaking it open and knocking him out. Okay, Gwen, you can finish this now. Tom lies unconscious on the pavement as Spider-Gwen walks over and delivers a final blow to the face, knocking him down and putting him into a coma. He's not dead, but he's in a coma. Gwen advances to the next round. For the final battle of this bracket, our most emotionally charged duel yet. Miles Morales versus Peter Parker. Peter B is sitting in his office, chipping away at his work at the Daily Bugle. In the corner of the room, Mayday is playing with an abacus. Peter B looks at her and smiles. The sound of the office fill the building as a figure walks in through the door. It's Miles Morales, who Peter B mentored and essentially raised to be a hero. "Miles," he says, happy to see him. "I'm sorry, Pete, but this ends now," Miles replies. "What? What ends?" Peter exclaims, confused. "I'm jealous," Miles begins. "Now that you have Mayday, you have no time for me. So now I'm gonna kill you." Peter B is shocked, and Miles begins to charge up a venom blast. At this moment, Peter B knows he will do whatever he needs to do to protect his daughter, even if that means killing a friend. The fight to the death begins. Peter and Miles both charge at each other. They're fighting hand to hand. Peter and Miles' hands are clenched into fists, and they trade blow after blow. Miles gets a few in, landing a punch to Peter's face that causes his glasses to fall off, while Peter gets some hits in too, kicking Miles' ass. As this happens, Peter B is using his advanced age to his advantage as he kicks Miles in the balls. "Sucks to be you, kid," Peter exclaims, watching Miles fall to the ground, clutching himself in pain. Peter B walks over to Miles, preparing to finish the job. However, Miles' spider sense warns him of the incoming danger. Miles and Peter B both react at the same time. Both Spider-Men jump backwards as a giant venom blast lands between them. The blast is from Mayday, who has arrived with a venom blast. Peter B and Miles are both shocked. "What's going on?" "I'm Mayday Parker, Peter's daughter," she replies. "Well, that's pretty cool," Miles says. "Can we all stop fighting?" "Fuck no," Peter B replies, lunging at Miles with killing intent. The death battle resumes. The three Spider-Men jump around the office, trying to get the advantage. They trade venom blasts back and forth, with Mayday getting some good shots in on Peter B. Why is Mayday fighting her dad? Peter and Mayday try to follow, but they're unable to keep up. As they look around the office, they see it's completely trashed. Papers and pens are scattered everywhere, with the computers broken. Miles bursts out through a window and flies into the distance. Peter and Mayday follow suit. They close in on him, and just as they reach him, they land. They all let loose their venom blast, but the blasts seem to have no effect on the other spiders. Peter B asks Mayday to go home and stay out of this fight, so she does, leaving only Miles and Peter B remaining. The two spiders continue to trade blows, with Peter landing some shots on Miles and getting him pretty bloody. However, he seems unable to get the upper hand on him. Finally, Peter takes advantage of a distraction by Miles and lands a solid punch to his face, sending him flying backwards. "You think you can beat me?" Peter asks. "I know I can," Miles replies, webbing up Peter and throwing him through a wall. Miles then runs over to Peter, preparing to land a final blow. However, Peter is ready for this and throws webbing at Miles. Miles struggles to get it off, but Peter gets it off quickly and then knocks him to the ground. "You're a good kid, but not good enough," Peter says. He walks over to Miles and picks him up. He webs up Miles' arms and legs, immobilizing him. "No," Miles says. "It's time for you to go, kid," Peter says. "I won't let you do this." Peter prepares to kill Miles Morales, the most recent Spider-Man, his protege, a friend, a person he once knew, now just a killer. He looks into Miles' eyes and sees pain, confusion, and fear, all things he doesn't want to see in anyone. However, he knows this must be done. Peter prepares his blow and brings it down on Miles Morales. Peter is standing in the middle of Times Square, holding Miles Morales' head. Miles is gone. Peter is filled with pain and guilt, but he knows what he did was the right thing. He turns around to see who will be next, and sees another spider person crawl out from something. Miles is dead. Peter fucking took his head off. Peter B. Parker moves on to the next round of the Spider-Man multiverse Spider-Verse Battle Royale, but at what cost? Yeah, fuck. That one hurt, like a lot. For the first semi-final, Spider-Man 2099 vs. Spider-Ham. Miguel is visiting the graves of Uncle Ben and Aunt May, just for fun. Miguel is an alien in this primitive modern-era world compared to his futuristic home of New York. He looks around and suddenly spots the malicious Spider-Ham, who is carrying the mangled head of Andrew Garfield. Another one of yours, Miguel, he says, tossing the head towards Miguel's feet. I got him. Miguel is enraged. I won't let you keep doing this, Spider-Ham. You're a danger to all Spider-kind. Spider-Ham smirks. You're damn fucking right. Miguel sprints at Spider-Ham, releasing his talons. Spider-Ham runs towards Miguel, pulling out his cartoon hammer. The death battle begins. As Miguel charges at Spider-Ham, he leaps up, taking off into the sky. He flies down at Miguel, who unleashes his talons and slashes them across Spider-Ham's chest. Good hit, Miguel. Spider-Ham swings around Miguel, smacking him in the face. He hits him again, this time leaving a mark across his cheek. He sprints towards Spider-Man, but his foe dodges, tripping him over. Spider-Ham smashes a giant hammer on his face. Miguel is left with a broken nose and blood coming from his nostrils. Spider-Ham kicks him in the chest, causing Miguel to stumble. He runs up the side of a building and then jumps on Miguel's back, slamming him to the ground. Spider-Ham continues beating down on Miguel and he finally stumbles. He screams out in pain, but he's not out just yet. He summons a web line, wrapping it around Spider-Ham's body. He flings him into the air, causing him to fall to the ground. He hits Spider-Ham in the face, ripping his skin and breaking his nose. Miguel tries to wrap a web line around his head, but he doesn't get it on, and Spider-Ham flings him into the side of the building. He lands with a loud thud, and Spider-Ham runs up the wall of the building, leaping into the sky. He lands on Miguel's chest, smashing his head into the ground. He bashes his head over and over and over again. Finally, he hits his head hard, and Miguel goes limp. He throws his corpse to the side and stands up. He pulls out his cartoon hammer and strikes the head of Miguel's corpse. Good riddance. Spider-Ham checks Miguel's pulse, just to make sure he's dead. He finds nothing, and smiles. That's what you get for murdering me, you cunt. Listen, a pattern seems to be emerging here. Spider-Ham is a sadistic bastard. His opponent for the final battle is about to be decided. Peter B. Parker versus Spider-Gwen. Peter B. is sitting in a cinema watching the film Venom Let There Be Carnage and reflecting on his actions. His solitude is interrupted when Spider-Gwen enters the cinema. Instead of sitting in one of the dozens of empty seats, Gwen elects to sit right next to Peter B., causing him some discomfort. Hey, could you not sit there? He asks. But Gwen doesn't budge. With this, years of pent-up sadness, aggression, and anger bubble to the surface. Peter B winds up a massive punch, hitting Gwen and causing her to fly across the room. What the fuck, man, she cries. But Peter B is already lunging towards her, ready to kill. Gwen prepares to defend her life, and the death battle begins. With that, Peter B. Parker winds up a massive uppercut, sending Gwen flying towards the top of the cinema. The punch knocks her out cold, and the window is smashed, giving her an impressive exit from the building. Peter B. Parker checks outside to see where Gwen is. She's laying down on the roof of the cinema, unconscious. He jumps out the window and lands right next to her, using his spider sense to tell that he has no one sneaking up on him. Gwen starts to stir. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, are you okay? He asks. What the fuck, man? What was that? She screams, coming round and realizing what he's just done to her. You just punched me into the ceiling, broke the window, and knocked me out. I'm sorry, but I needed to knock you out for a minute so I could take you somewhere else. You can trust me. I'm Peter B. Parker. Gwen's spider sense goes off. She's smelling his bullshit. Gwen's spider sense goes off. Peter B is spewing some bullshit. She punches him in the face, and the death battle resumes. Gwen and Peter B go to a nearby alley, and the fight is intense. They hit and punch each other, breaking various parts of the surrounding building and tearing the floor up, causing rubble to rain down on top of them. Eventually, Peter B. Parker grabs Gwen by the neck, choking her. Gwen grabs his arm and holds him away from her, but he's just too strong, and she can't get him off. Peter B. Parker, knowing that he can't beat her in hand-to-hand combat, tries to kick her away, but Gwen uses the momentary break in the grapple to start shooting webbing at him, effectively trapping his feet in place. Peter B. Parker manages to free himself, but his movements are severely restricted, and Gwen easily overpowers him. She starts beating his face with her fist, and then her knee. He bends over, and she does the same thing to his face, repeatedly punching it until it's nothing but a pulp. She then breaks his neck. Peter B. Parker dies! And there you have it. It seems that it'll take a sadist to kill a sadist. Or at least, that's what we can hope for. The final battle, Spider-Ham versus Spider-Gwen. The battle to decide the strongest spider-person in the Spider-Verse begins now. Gwen is busy studying in English class. She has an assessment task coming up based on George Orwell's 1984, which in her universe is not banned. She is memorizing quotes when she suddenly hears screams channel through the hallway of the building. Suddenly, the cause of those screams opens the door slowly. In comes a bloodied hammer, still dripping with the blood of its last victim. It's Spider-Ham. Spider-Gwen, you're the last on my list. Looking up from her book, Gwen knows this day was coming. Oh yeah? Then I'll be the first to kill you instead. Spider-Ham jumps into the air, preparing to slam his hammer down. Gwen prepares to dodge out of the way. The death battle begins. The fight is vicious. Spider-Gwen is forced to dodge Spider-Ham's hammer swings with surprising ease. He turns around and grabs Gwen by the throat. He raises her into the air, choking her as she tries to escape his grip. She manages to pry her head free, but before she can break the hold, he slams her against the wall. She coughs but continues to fight, firing a web line at his face. Spider-Ham swats it away, landing a heavy punch to her jaw. He then continues to assault her, slamming his fist into her cheek over and over again. Spider-Gwen rolls backwards, dodging a swing from Spider-Ham's hammer. She tries to get up, but he stomps down on her shoulder, crushing her bone. It's no use, Gwen. You have nothing left, except that you lost. Spider-Gwen shakes her head. She fires a web line at her assailant. She doesn't have the strength to pull him off balance, but she knows that a single punch from the monster will cause some serious harm. It works. Spider-Ham stumbles and Gwen immediately moves to deliver an uppercut, knocking him into the air. She then takes aim and fires a web line at his hammer, pulling the weapon out of his hands, so Spider-Ham has been disarmed with his magic hammer. It flies through the air and she catches it. She turns back to her foe, holding the hammer up as she walks over to him. She picks him up and holds him over her head. Spider-Ham, I think this is the best thing that's ever happened to you. She slams him onto the ground. He screams in pain, but she doesn't stop. She continues to slam him onto the floor, causing more pain than before. She kicks him in the stomach to be the one in charge. She lifts up his body by the throat and squeezes. Spider-Ham struggles to breathe. I'll be your nightmare. She throws him to the ground, and your worst fear. She picks up the hammer and raises it above her head. And I'll never let you forget it. She slams it into his face, breaking his jaw. She then holds his head down with one hand and beats him to a pulp with the hammer. Do you see how strong I am now, she asks. How can anyone ever doubt me again? Spider-Ham tries to answer, but Gwen won't hear it. Shut up! I'm not done yet! She hits him over and over with the hammer in the head again. I'm still stronger. She stands up and walks around to face him. She places a foot on his stomach, looking down at him. This is for all those I killed. All the people I hurt because of your bullshit. This is for my family. This is for everyone you've ever killed. She grabs a piece of broken wall and presses it against his throat. This is for... Spider-Ham tries to say something, but Gwen is already cutting off his air supply. Is she going to deliver the final blow? His hands try to pull the brick away, but it's too late. Spider-Ham's body stops moving. A long moment passes, and then, just when Gwen thought she was victorious, Spider-Ham begins to laugh. Then he smiles up at her, his face still covered in blood. You didn't think I would really die from that, did you? He asks. Spider-Gwen feels a shiver run down her spine as she sees the look on Spider-Ham's face. It's the look of a hungry predator, of a monster who has found a worthy opponent. Spider-Ham gets to his feet and punches her in the stomach, sending her flying into a wall. He walks over to her as she slowly gets to her feet. She moves to fight, but before she can do anything, he grabs her throat and lifts her up. So, do you think I'm strong now? He asks. Spider-Gwen spits in his face, but he doesn't care. You haven't seen anything yet. Spider-Ham tosses Gwen onto the ground. Then he takes off his hammer, setting it aside as he stands over her. The hammer swings down, piercing through the shirt and pinning Spider-Gwen to the ground. I am Spider-Ham and I am strong. The hammer is pulled up again, taking Gwen's stomach with it. I will be always stronger than you. He hits her with the hammer again and again. I can beat anyone again. And I will! Again, no one is stronger than me! Spider-Gwen screams in pain as Spider-Ham keeps hitting her. He continues to repeat his mantra, smashing the hammer into Gwen's body over and over again. He's a madman, a beast who has lost all reason to think clearly. He is a monster and won't stop until his victim is dead. This is your fault, he screams. If you had just accepted defeat, then we all could have been happy. You ruined everything. Spider-Ham hits her over and over and over. He doesn't care how much damage he does. You were never meant to be the strongest. He raises his hammer over his head, ready to bring it down on Spider-Gwen one final time. You were never the strongest. The hammer strikes down and Gwen waits for the final blow. She's ready to die, but Spider-Ham isn't. The hammer stops mid-air, held back by a pair of gloves. Spider-Ham looks up surprised before being punched by Spider-Gwen. He falls to the ground and Gwen gets to her feet and holds out her hands. Spider-Ham looks at her confused, but grabs her hand. She pulls him to his feet. Thank you, she says, smiling. I knew you could do it. Spider-Ham laughs, and then they embrace. We did it. We're the strongest. Spider-Gwen turns to look at the corpse of Spider-Gwen. What should we do with this, she asks, not wanting to see a body again. Spider-Ham thinks for a moment. Leave it. Let them clean it up. It'll be a reminder of who's the strongest. Gwen smiles, nodding in agreement. You're right. It was a tough fight, but Spider-Gwen has finally been victorious! Wait. That's not good enough for me. What's this about some Spider-Ham clone? We need a definitive answer. Only one can survive. So here's what we'll do. A high stakes rock, paper, scissors game between Ham and Gwen, where the loser immediately explodes, ending their life. Who will win? Rock, paper, scissors. Spider-Ham has lost. Instantly his body is no more. Spider-Gwen stands over the dust of what was once a mighty superhero, victorious and triumphant. This is my world now, she says, looking at her hands. No one can take that from me. I am Spider-Gwen, and I will always be the strongest. The movie ends there. So is this video, so thanks for watching, see ya.